Welcome to Fearless and Focused. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Casey.
And we're here to share bold stories, real talk,
and strategies to help you push past fear and level up.
Let's get fearless and focused.
It is true. You are the sum of those that you hang around with. And if you want to get to the next level, one of the best things that I would tell your audience, if you feel like, gosh, I want to be there, do yourself a solid and be there before you think you're supposed to be there. Because most women, I will tell you, the number one fear most women have of coming to like one of my retreats or something like that is that they're not there yet. They're not ready yet. They won't fit in. They're not high enough. And that's all a lie. And even if it was true, get yourself in that room and I guarantee you will get to the top faster.
The sooner you realize that nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just doing our best, and I think everybody has this thing that, these two, they figured out podcasting and they know how to do this and they can launch this. And then I don't know what. Nobody knows what they're doing. Some people choose to figure it out, and I think that's the difference is, with this company that I'm developing right now, I'm working with an amazing person that's building the web, and it's a pretty complicated site. I have no idea. I'm giving the information, but she's making it, into something that's viable. And we were laughing at a brunch the other day. Her and I were doing some planning, and she was like, I taught this to myself. I taught myself how to code. I taught myself how to do the web. I mean, she's incredible. She works with big hospitals and corporate brands. And I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah, I went to college for a literature degree. And then I taught myself how to code. That is the essence of women right there.
And that was really where we were looking at what kind of life do we want? And I think the biggest thing that I am so focused on is build your life first and then build a business that supports that life. And I think in our society, especially, we do it in reverse. We build our career first and then we say, where does our life fit into this? And for me, I just didn't want that kind of life. I wanted a very full and extraordinary and special and beautiful life with my husband, and I didn't want to spend all of my time working. And so that's really where, when COVID happened, we looked around and we had 5 businesses at the time, and we said, okay, what is really, really important? And that's where we decided to double down on Weaver Sales Academy. And we said, okay, this is the one that we can really make the biggest impact. And then we did the most logical thing. We bought an RV and we traveled the country for 4 months, really working on who are we as people? What does our identity look like when we're not running these 5 businesses? And now we're getting ready to launch Ambitious Hippies. So fast forward 11 years, it's been a lot of learning lessons, but I think the core of build your life first and build your business second is still who we are as people and trying to make the biggest impact that we can.
It's really about playing bold and big today. And so here's my backstory. So I was thinking, I knew Brooke was coming into town, and I was like, okay, I need to get like a great person that vibes with insurance and, and playing big, and that is an influencer in my eyes to me. So I'm like, who do I know? And then your name popped up because I watched Sold on SLC. Your name popped up, but I'm like, when you have those moments, it's like, should I really DM her though? Like, is she going to think I'm crazy? So I had to play big, and I was thinking, okay, what's the worst thing she's going to do? Just ignore it or just say no, right?
Yeah.
So I DM'd you. I got enough courage, and I sent you a DM, and you gracefully said, yes, absolutely. And then I was like, would you want to actually do it in person too? I kept feeling like I was like asking you for more and more, but you were just so kind and responsive. And I was like, yes, it was one of those moments when it's like, you never know unless you ask. And that worked well for me and Brooke. And so then, of course, like you DM'd and said yes. And so I had to immediately call Brooke because we know, we usually just text, but we know if each other is calling, then like something big's happening. So she picks up the phone. I'm like, oh my God, guess what? A huge influencer in Utah said yes, and she's going to join us. So thank you for saying yes. And I'm so excited you're here today.
I love that you live what you preach.
Yeah.
You were like, I got to play big. And I love women that are doing big things like you guys. So I was honored to be asked.
What is your favorite quote or best advice that you've ever been given?
I think my favorite quote is everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
Oh, so
I
good.
say that all the
Do you?
time.
Do I
So
not?
good.
But it's so real. It's one of those things that you're like, that's right. There's a fear here, and you sometimes don't recognize it.
Yeah.
So then when you realize, okay, I just got to get past that. So
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's so good. And just like I was saying, really when you stop and think about it, it's like, okay, what's the worst thing that could really happen? Like she could just either like scroll past or not answer, but we're still going to have our podcast. Like everything's still going to go on. It's going to be fine. So yeah, I love that. The main thing she was like, Casey, women who sit at their desk all day do not eat. You need to start eating. I'm like, okay, that's great, but how am I going to fit that in and what does that look like? So we set a timer on my phone for 5 times a day to make sure I'm eating something, like going to the meal prep and stuff, like that's level 2. But level 1 is like, make sure you are fueling and feeding your body all day, every day consistently. So it has that consistent energy source. So we're not burning out, crying out, and then it's taking your body longer to recuperate because it has nothing to fuel itself. So that's been a game changer, is putting in those alarms at all the different times during the day, just like Brooke was showing, to yes, eat and fuel your body. And even I have an alarm at 7 a.m. Take vitamins. Like it's a real thing. Otherwise, you just don't do it.
Yeah, my mom literally used Crisco, like, like the kind out of a can that was like a heart. Like she would do that and then have like the silver tray thing that she'd hold to like get that. I'm like, are you kidding? So yeah, there's a much better way. So my very favorite, and I just discovered this probably 6 months ago, and I'm like, where's this been all my life? So it's RMS. It is a beauty line. So the letters RMS. And of course, that's the one product that I meant to bring out here that I don't have. But it's called Super Tint. And I use it as my foundation. It's thick enough like to cover, like this is what I have on right now. But it has 50 SPF in it.
Like now I know that I was using a performance sport to reach aesthetic goals, which is not the same thing. And so I still didn't really know that at the time that I switched to just like straight up bodybuilding splits. Where I started working, I have a glutes day, shoulder day, back, all that stuff, because like I would do that. And it really shifted my physique. And I started doing nutrition in a totally different way that I had never done before. And then it really shifted things. And it got me away from dieting, challenges, 4 weeks to this, 6 weeks abs. You're either on or you're off. You're eating clean or whatever. And really gave me what I do now is a pathway to just freedom of not getting ready for summer or a vacation or trying to fit into my summer clothes or get ready to wear shorts, like just being done.
Motivation is bullshit. I am not motivated. I am 100% not motivated. I do something because that's just who I am. Like, it's just so ingrained into me that I do the small things most times. I'm not perfect. No one is. I have bad days. I am a human being doing a human thing. But most of the time, 90% of the time, I'm doing the shit that no one else wants to do.
There is no work-life balance. That anyone who wants to live in that world, just keep living in your fantasy castle, and like that's fine. But it's all a facade, and you'll figure it out eventually. But I think there's beauty and accomplishment in chaos. And once you sort of get to that point in your mind where it doesn't always have to be pretty and pink and fluffy and perfect, chaos. I don't love chaos. I hate drama, but sometimes we operate that way daily, and it's okay. Are we getting it done? It may be fucking messy, but if we're crossing the finish line, it's it's getting you where you need to be.
I always say we run a tight ship, but it's kind of like a pirate ship. It's a little unruly. It's a little messy. There's a guy with one leg and one eye and his eye patched. That's kind of who we are. We get it done.
we're walking the plank occasionally, but as long as we're not jumping off.
Somebody has scurvy, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
When I got into insurance, I barely had any money, number one. I had zero experience owning a business. I had zero experience like managing people, no insurance experience, like took the test while I was applying to open an agency. And it was really lonely and it was really challenging because I didn't come from that world. I just knew that like I wanted to help people. And because I had a passion in this because my stepfather had passed away and there was no life insurance. And I was like, I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen to someone else. I could be that person. But I didn't know what I was doing. And so I was like alone on an island and I didn't know anyone from the insurance world. So I was like, who do I go to? Who do I talk to? And so I just was, there's only so much that you can like pump yourself up, right? I'm my biggest cheerleader and that's great, but I needed to find some people to help me. And the person I thought could help me or that would be a mentor to me basically told me that I was going to fail and then I could come work for him. And that's a whole nother story there. So I was like, okay, well that didn't work. So I was like, I've got to figure it out. I'm going to start joining just groups, networking groups, put myself in rooms with like-minded people.
We had donors that, contributed a very large amount. All of the women were able to walk away with something, right?
Mhm.
So they had, we had laptops. Tina Moore had donated 2 laptops. And then 4 of our guy friends, Justin Slocum, Mark Mercer, Matt Black, Mike Daniels, they all contributed money that turned into a scholarship for these women. And the other 6 women were able to get scholarships, that they could use for their business, to help them with supplies they need or to get that business started, like move it out of their home or the things that they needed to like get that going. It was just truly amazing, the people that stepped up and
Mhm.
gave for a cause, for us to take over there and just, make these women's lives.
But I can't wait to hear what yours is because you have fun names for everything. Yeah, so it's my, how I always say Chat GPT, which is another thing, but is my Brooke bot. So this
Yeah.
is my Brooke bot recap queen.
Oh, love it. Love it. Is that I gotta look for that. Is that on the like when we get the recaps, does it say that the title? Okay. I
It
gotta
says
check
it
that out.
has our names in the corner, and then I thought it was like Brooke bot recap queen. Love it.
You should post as much as you can, a lot for the time commitment to be consistent. So if I get on here and say, I want you to post 2 to 3 times a day, 5 to 7 days a week, somebody that is just going to starting out is going to get so overwhelmed, just like a, workout or gym routine, and they're going to stop doing it. So what I always say is, what are you currently doing? I kind of take an audit. What are you doing? How are you showing up online currently? Let's add and get a little bit more strategic to that. If you're not doing anything at all, then let's just start with 1 to 3 times a week. Because we know if we just start 1 to 3 times a week, if you're not doing anything, that's going to be a lift and that's going to keep you consistent. And then once we've created that habit, because social media is a habit of really, being strategic and showing up online. Once we've got that foundation, then we can add more days on top of that. And then we can add more mixed media on top of that and really get strategic and really dive into all the growth and the opportunity. But that's my biggest response when I'm asked that is like, well, that can be a very loaded question depending on where you're at on your social media journey. And the best thing to do is start somewhere, but not all the way in so you don't get overwhelmed.
I had their business card, the Sojel business card, and I had wrote on it, own, like I was going to own it someday. And that was sitting on my vision board for like 4 years. And when it came to fruition, they called me and I was like, oh my goodness, like, oh, what do I do with this? Like, this is big. This is huge. This is like, can I handle this? Like, I can't fail at this. And I remember calling my husband and saying, I need to talk to you. And he's like, okay. And so it was like, I just got offered this. And I'm like, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know like what the price tag is on this. Like, I'm scared to death. And, I just told him, I said, I can't fail at this. That's one of my things is like, I know that there's just like I was, so many people that rely on our product that are supporting their families, supporting their kids, when their husbands are losing their jobs, like their nail clients, that's their income. I says, I can't like let this product go by the wayside and have to close down or fail at getting this product to the customers. Like it was a big deal for me and it was scary, scary, scary. And my husband said, we're not going to let you fail. Like you never fail at anything. And I'm like, well, okay, like that's the big shoes, but let's do this. And it's been awesome.
Telling yourself, what would I want my kids to do when they're adults? Because they're always watching, right? And I don't want my kid, my daughter, I have a son as well, to look at me and feel like they have to sacrifice themselves for their children. Of course, we all would, right? Given the right circumstances. But at the end of the day, like I want my kids to pick themselves first. And then that bleeds over into them being a better husband, a better partner, a better wife, mom, whatever the thing is.
Yeah, I agree. And something you said, having, yes, can you have it all? Like you can, but not all at the same time, right? Like there's a book, Pick Three. Have you read that by Randy Zuckerberg?
No, I need to.
Oh god, it's so good. And it says that like you can have it all, just not all at the same time. So it's like you're picking your battles. You're picking what do you need most today, and then you're balancing all of that out because you can't do family, friends, health, wellness, sleep, work all in the same day. Like you can only run at that capacity for so long before you hit a brick wall.
I hope that women out there that are listening are like, oh my gosh, something similar happened to me, or oh my gosh, I went through that, and know, like, you know what? If no one's told you it is okay, and you are still an awesome mom because you love them and you care for them and you show up and you have that guilt. I mean, you have guilt because you love them so much. So, let us say it's okay. It is going to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. And I love how too on our first read record, we also kind of mentioned that, if there's any moms out there that is feeling like super isolated or alone, that make sure you always reach out to one of us. We check our own DMs, we respond to DMs. So that's the main thing with the podcast is like we don't want you feeling alone. We don't want you staying, stuck in that just, mindset of not feeling good enough and lack of. So we're always here for you. So make sure that you reach out if you need to also.
I think that is the funniest statement I ever hear. Like that is comical to me because it's so backwards. I intentionally put myself in so much pain every day with my training, the way I train. And I would kill for bigger muscles. You know what I'm saying? It's not that easy. And if you're picking up 5-10 pound dumbbells, girl, you're not gonna look like a man. I promise you that.
You ain't gonna bulk on 5 pounds.
And here's the key too. I think people think like bulky and stuff like that. Sure, if you look at me in my off season, I look a little bit thicker because I have muscle tissue and then I have fat around that, right? But if you are looking for a toned look and if you like, when your muscles show, you have to build the muscle first. So it's not like you can just diet down with your current physique and look the way that you're hoping to. No, you have to build the muscle. You have to accumulate a little bit of fat. And then you could go through a dieting phase where you lose that fat and those muscles do show. You're going to like that look. I promise you that.
But the biggest thing, like with Kelly, is that, making sure that you are fueling your body consistently all day long instead of going into like not eating or drinking anything all day, just having one quick little something. And then that evening, like you're just going to like eat everything in the house because you haven't fueled your body. So just making sure you have more awareness around that your body needs fuel all day long if you want it to perform and sustain like a busy lifestyle. So that was one of my biggest takeaways with her.
Yeah, I like how she said, like, most people are chronically under eating, and she's like, I eat 5 meals a day. Like, you'd be like astonished at the amount of food that I put in my body, but it's quality, that she's putting in there over, over crap, right? Because you can have a Pop Tart all day, and that's just however many calories and sugar, or you can have all of these different things that are going to fuel your body better. So that was one of my biggest takeaways too. Another one I had from her, because she has this phenomenal body, right? She works hard, but she's very muscly, but she's very feminine, right? And I think a lot of women, and I was one of those people. I literally asked a question to this on to Lindsay years ago. I was like, yeah, I don't want to bulk. You know, I see people, you know, and that if that's for you, cool. But for me, I want to be toned. I want to be fit. I want to feel good in my clothes. And I was like, I'm scared if I start lifting weights, because in your 40s, they say like, you need to like do strength training. I was like, I feel like I'm going to bulk. And Callie was like laughing. She's like, no, that's what everybody thinks. She's like, girl, if you're picking up 5 and 10 pound weights, you ain't bulking. Like, it is hard to build like massive muscle.
Thanks for tuning in to Fearless and Focused. Remember, success is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, staying bold, and taking action.
If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration.
Keep chasing your dreams, staying fearless, and keeping your focus strong.
Until the next time, stay
fearless and focused.